Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I am very happy to introduce all of you to Matt Satten, who is the CEO of Top Dog Cocktails. Matt, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thanks for having me. Technically CFO, my partner Joanna CEO, but all good.
Gotcha. Just out of curiosity, I was looking up your information and I saw that you had started in the hospitality industry or the liquid libations, we'll say, from long ago. I even saw that you had worked for Terrapin.
Yes, I did. Just brief history. If it makes it easier for everyone, I worked at Philadelphia Weekly doing advertising sales in the early 2000s, so an alternative news weekly, and from there, really interested in craft beer and grabbed the Philly Beer Week, now Philly Loves Beer, sponsorship, and that got me involved with a lot of beer folks and business owners, and did that for a few years and decided it was time to transition into the beer world, where I worked for Shangy's, a local craft brewery, as the lone Philadelphia sales rep for 3.5 years. And then I left and went to Terrapin, which you mentioned, and did sales in PA and South Jersey. They got bought by Miller Coors. And around that time, I left and went back to Shangy's as the director of sales and marketing. I was there for a couple of years. Then went to Founders Brewing, another large, now national brewery. He's doing a lot of on-premise, larger classes of trades like stadiums, concert halls, etc. But then the pandemic hit, so it changed that a little bit, and it made me rethink some things. And that's when I decided I wanted to take my knowledge and apply it to a different area of the hospitality industry, shall we say, into a growing niche, and got presented with a great opportunity with what is now Top Dog Cocktails, and kind of ascended from there over the last year and a half.
Oh wow. So
Yeah, extensive history bouncing around.
no. I mean, obviously, like having that history is crucial because you're learning different aspects of the business and, what people like. It's almost like while you're bouncing around and, going from here to there with different, companies, you're learning, like, generally speaking, what people like and dislike.
Yep, definitely a lot of learning. Different aspects of each type of liquor are different, where you sell, how you sell on off premise. There are so many different things. So definitely trying to learn a lot. I love gaining new knowledge, and now applying it to a growing new industry, the ready to drink canned cocktail industry, which is definitely something that was helped spurred on by the pandemic. People
Yes, there's a lot of like things that were spurred on by the pandemic, but one of which were lines out the door for libations because what else are we gonna do?
Right, and we learned that not everyone knows how to make a cocktail, wants to make a cocktail, has the ingredients to do it, or after they do the first one, creating a second or third one,
Uh,
because, things happen
Consistency.
after the first one. Yeah, consistency. So, I think that's definitely helped to grow the whole industry and lift all ships there. And we're seeing like a sea change as people move away from some of the other types of alcohol, and this is the largest growing area right now in the alcohol industry, these ready to drink cocktails. So we're excited to be a part of it and watch things grow.
Yeah. And I want to make a distinction for our listeners out there because there are a lot of ready to drink canned cocktails, or actually I should say canned hard seltzers that are out there. Now you are distinguished from all of that in your own section or own niche, we'll say, because you are utilizing hard liquor.
Right. So in PA, where there's specific rules about whether you're a malt based or spirit based, and we're a spirit based drink, so we're sold through the fine wine and good spirit stores, not through like a local beer store or grocery store. Maybe that'll change with some legislation in the future, but for now, the big distinction is we are a PA produce, so Pennsylvania produce, spirit-based, ready-to-drink canned craft cocktails. The big key is we're spirit-based. We don't have any bubbles. We're not a seltzer. We are meant to be like a real deal high-end cocktail that just so happens to come in a can for convenience purposes and many other things. So we want you to think of us as something that you sip, not something that you chug. And at 12.5% per can, we say 2 drinks per serving. We encourage people to pour over ice, but it can be 2.5 times as strong as a lot of these 4.5, 5% seltzers and other drinks out there. So definitely a distinction, and an important one.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was gonna also give a nod to the ABV being such a high percentage. I know that at 12.5%, like I will be thoroughly tipsy by the end of one can. Just because I know myself, I know how, how I react to alcohol. And I know that with or without food, that 12.5% is I'm gonna be feeling it.
Yeah, and I mean that's the point is it's a real cocktail, and by saying 12.5, some people are taken aback, but no one's ever asking like how strong is my drink when they order one at the bar. And the way we look at it is that these are 2 cocktails, so they're 12.5% each. I mean, so they're like 6.25 each,
Yeah.
so it's not that big a deal. It's like less than an IPA. It's a couple glasses of wine and a couple cocktails, a couple beers, they're all similar. It's when you start treating them like a seltzer that's an issue. And so
Yeah.
that's a big distinction for us.
Obviously. And I mean, and I'm glad that you said that because there is a distinction and the hard seltzers are created to be more approachable insofar as throwing them back like you can drink multiple cans and not have a problem, whereas this is to be sipped and enjoyed. And I mean, the liquors that you're using vodka, whiskey, and mezcal.
Tequila. Yeah, tequila. But yeah, not
Tequila,
quite
yes.
mezcal. Yeah.
And so, these now actually off of that,
Mhm.
because you're a PA based business, I was wondering if the alcohols that you use are also located out of Philly.
So, some might have their origins elsewhere, but we co-pack with Boardroom Spirits, who is a local PA producer out of Lansdale. And we get the alcohol from them. So they do their treatment, filter creation, all kinds of different things, barreling. They're an excellent partner to us. So we've come up with recipes with them and partnered with them and work with them on some figuring out some distribution for I'm sorry, future recipe development, I should say. So thinking about new flavors and other things. But yeah, we are using again real alcohol. It's not a malt based product, which it's not, I'm not meaning to be insulting here, but it can be a race to the bottom with the seltzers where they're just trying to produce alcohol as cheaply as you can, like sugar water basically, and then add flavoring to it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that sometimes leaves that weird aftertaste that you get on the back of a seltzer can and everything. And what people say when they try ours, they're always like amazed at how good it tastes. And I said, well, it's because it's a real cocktail, and you got to think about it like that. It's not just flavoring on top of it. Everything we do is all natural, and we try and make sure we have at least 3 ingredients in each can, so it's not just flavor and alcohol. Many have a lot more in that. I think that not only are people pleasantly surprised at the taste, but they enjoy the convenience and something different that they can pick up in a can at a pretty reasonable price too.
Yeah. Now, you're saying you're using all natural ingredients. So when you can them, like, are you, because if you're, say you're at the bar and you order a cocktail, they're gonna like dress it with, various fruits and whatnot that are incorporated into it. Like there's always like a lime at the top of a margarita, which I know you have the blood orange margarita, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and so in other cocktails they macerate the fruit at the bottom so it incorporates. Are you going so far as doing that, or are you letting the cocktails ferment a little bit so that they get infused?
Yeah, it's not quite that same process, but yeah, you can certainly garnish them if you want after you pour it out with like a lime on top. In our branding, you see that encouraged in some of what we've done, and the idea is to dress it like a real cocktail and treat it as such. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's just nothing artificial. We're not using like made up chemicals that are hard to pronounce and things like that. Our shelf life is pretty good naturally with liquor. It's a little bit different than beer because things aren't continuing to ferment in the same way with that. So there are definitely advantages and different ways of producing it. But if you want bubbles in your drink, feel free to add a little bit more. If you want a sweeter flavor, because we try and keep the sugar low, you can always add simple syrup or sugar to it. But like our tea will come in considerably less sweet than some of the others on the market, our peach mango tea. So we figure you can always add more sugar. You can't take it away. So, but we think they're pretty good as is right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that one of the trends that it's kind of rehashing. It started trending a few years back, and then the pandemic hit, and so the trend went away real fast. But I feel like it's starting to trend again, only because it's the summertime, and so people are trying to cool off. But they take the fruit popsicles and they put it inside of your cocktail beverage, and not only does it kind of chill your cocktail, it's infusing it with that extra like flavoring, and if you're looking for sweetness too.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sugar in those when you're when you're adding that. But I mean, it makes it taste great, but it's a different drink. We like to think we don't need any extra ingredients to have a good one. And that's, people like doing that, making cocktails of their own variants, and we encourage that. Like we have a blood orange margarita and a Greyhound, which is our vodka, grapefruit, rosemary, elderflower, and we combine them for a bloodhound, or the peach mango tea with the whiskey lemonade. Hopefully you can see that.
Yep.
But a classic combo of of tea and lemonade is an Arnold Palmer, or as my grandmother used to call it, an Arnie Palmy. Because she remembers him and that was her favorite golfer and that was the nickname. So yeah, you can combine things, you can do different things, but we think we have four great flavors right now that are pretty universal and can get you through all the seasons. And obviously this is a good season for us outdoor drinking weather because we do
Of
have the portability. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say because there is that portability. It is a trend, you can buy a case at one of the places that sells it, which I know, we'll find out later where to find that information from you.
sure.
But then you can take it to wherever you want. You can take it to your a cookout, you can take it to the beach if it's allowed.
Yep. Beach, barbecue, pool, your boat, patio, concert if you want to tailgate a game or a show. There are a ton of different options. It's a lot harder to lug a few bottles of liquor and mixers and glasses and ice and all these things you can do. You can just drink from the can if you want, or just bring a little ice and some cups and you'll be set with us. So some people go hiking, all kinds of different places you can take us. Wherever you want to that it's legal, we're in favor of.
Yes. I love that you put the caveat of where it's legal.
Absolutely.
That is
21 plus and wherever you go that it's legal is good for us.
and that's a perfect thing. Now, I know that there's a bunch of events that obviously it's summertime and then we're going to roll into fall. So we're still doing towards that beginning section of fall, we're still doing events outdoors. Do
Yep.
you have any events that are coming up that you're participating in?
Of course. Yeah, we try and do some all summer. We were just at Independence Beer Garden. Every Friday we are over in Fishtown at Deli on Dwell doing top dogs and hot dogs. They do a later happy hour in the evening, trying to get people before they go out. So they do discounts on that in variety hot dogs. We'll be at the PHS pop-up garden on South Street. If you're familiar with that place, beautiful garden by the Philadelphia Horticultural Society. We'll be there Thursday, August 17th from 5 to 7 p.m., sampling all four flavors. And then we'll be at some of the bigger events like the All-Star Craft Beer and Wine Fest at the ballpark on September 30th, which has like 15,000 people and lets you like go on the bases at Citizens Bank Park. We'll be at Philly Wine Fest at Live Casino October 7th. A bunch of other things like that. We do list our events on our page, topdogcocktails.com, and we are very active on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Top Dog Cocktails.
And you know what's funny is you actually on your website, you have one of my friends is in one of your photos,
Oh,
and I was
really?
like, oh, there's Brenda.
Yeah, we did some parties with some influencers early on, and we had an anniversary party, I believe, which is up on our website right now. And we like to incorporate real people, not just models in our photo shoots and everything. So people that we're friends with, we know, influencers, the people like you and me who are drinking these drinks and enjoy it. So we're just trying to keep things real and get everyone involved. And I think that's a good way of getting, spreading the word is having people try it and passing it along. And sometimes if they're on a website or an Instagram, that helps too. And they like to share that. So works for us.
Obviously, yeah, of course. Now, I know that you probably love all of them, but I always ask this question, like almost putting like a spotlight on you.
Yeah, which
Is
is my
there?
favorite child?
Yeah.
That's why I don't have kids. No. It just depends, and you'll hear me waffling a little bit. Our director of sales, Justin Nosp, loves the whiskey lemonade. Joanna Manzo, our CEO, is a big tea lady. She likes the peach mango tea. Ken, our president, when he got started, definitely enjoyed the Greyhound, a little bit more sophisticated, light and refreshing. For me personally, if I had to choose one right now, which you're forcing me to, it's the blood orange margarita. I really enjoy that taste. I think having tequila is a little bit different than a lot of the vodka drinks out there, and I love that blood orange flavor. And you can dress it up. You can even salt the rim of the can or sugar the rim if you wanted. You can have that option right there. But it also pours out a beautiful blood red color because, again, these aren't seltzers. These are actual cocktails. So they are pouring a different color. So when that comes out, I think it looks great and it tastes great and it's unique. So
Yeah.
that's mine.
And I have to say, like the one that piqued my interest is actually the Greyhound because it's incorporating the rosemary in there, and I would love to kind of try that taste,
Mhm.
like it's a bigger profile when you bring in herbs to into a cocktail.
Yeah, we think it's fun. I mean, Greyhound is the name of a classic cocktail, vodka and grapefruit, and we zhuzh it up a little bit with the rosemary and the elderflower and a couple other tiny things we won't get into. But proprietary info. But we think that's light and refreshing, and it does give it a nice twist, and it's a little original. Plus, we wanted a drink just with that name, the Greyhound, and us being top dogs. Because we have dogs on all of our drinks. A local artist, Patricia Carlin. I'll see if we'll capture it
I can
for a
see,
sec.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it got in there like
In
real
and
quick.
out. She's a local artist. She did all the drawings. We had another local designer, Alex Peltz, help us with the label, our own fonts and stuff. So I mean, we keep going with that dog theme, and the Greyhound was obviously a great pick for that. And the fact that it is interesting with the rosemary and elderflower does give it a nice touch.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs. Let our listeners know I'm tripping over my own words, but let our listeners know where they can find you online and yeah,
I
purchase food.
appreciate it, Amaris. Thank you so much for having me. You can find Top Dog Cocktails at topdogcocktails.com. We'll deliver a case right to your house if you're in the Philly 5-county area. Free delivery. It's the least expensive way and a great way to get us. But we're also in the fine wine and good spirit stores. We're in about 40 of them in Philly 5-county area and a couple in Lancaster right now. So we have a variety 8-pack for $29.99, which we think is a great bang for your buck and a good deal.
All
So I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
No problem. Thank you so much, Matt. And we will be right back after this short break. Welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs, and I would love to introduce you to Nery, who is the owner and the chef at Breakfast at Blume. Nery, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For our listeners out there, you can't see this, but she is seated inside of her restaurant with the beautiful background behind her. I actually did a quick background check on you, and this is not your first time owning a restaurant.
Yes and no. Yes and no. We can tap into that.
I was going to say, so how did you get into the hospitality industry? Because I think that through researching you, you graduated in 2011 with your bachelor's in business administration.
Yes.
So,
Want me to jump in?
yeah, I'd love for you to jump in.
So, I think it has everything to do with creativity and art. And I've always been very whimsical about showing my art. And food was one of those things that gave me that creativity, and people love to buy food. People love to eat. It's a feel-good thing. It's one of those things where even if you don't have money, you will scrounge up your last few dollars to get fries. And that is one of the reasons I got into this business. But in high school, I wanted to take home ec and food, and my principal was very adamant about me not. She made me take business and principles, which I was like, what do I need this for? I don't need this. And I'm so happy that she did, because 3 things I got out of the class was understanding business and your business model, and learning what is essential in your field.
Yeah.
And essential meaning, the teacher really got on my nerves, but I'm grateful for him now. He said, have a career, have a passion, and have a hobby. All 3 of those things will make you money. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, when you're a teenager, you're like, you think you know everything, but you have no idea what that is. And so I ended up actually going into property management. I did that for 16 years, but I always had this passion for being a business owner, and anything that had to do with fashion and clothes, I loved. So if one thing didn't work, I would go to my passion. My career is property management. My passion is food, and my hobby is shopping and decorating my home.
Okay.
So one thing just didn't satisfy me personally, and I believe that's a big need. When you're working, you need to have satisfaction and know that it's the proper representation of who you are. And in property management, that paid the bills, and I love dressing up, and I love feeling superior and important, and closing deals for the companies I work for, or renting out apartments, or just looking for new properties. But it still didn't give me that I made it, I put this together, I curated it, it's something I physically did. So I would go back into trying to get into the restaurant business. And so my first, what you're talking about, I think you're talking about, I ended up trying to buy a turnkey restaurant, and that was a heck of an experience. That was a very eye-opening experience. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I felt that my managerial skills, I knew how to hire, I knew concept, I knew how to cook enough, because a lot of people would hire me for like small catering, and I love to entertain at home. And I learned so much in that experience, where it almost kind of scared me to go into it again. Then the next time I decided to do it, I said, you know what? I learned a lot from it. Don't be scared, and just go for it.
And you go for it, you did, and you definitely have gotten a lot of accolades and a lot of exposure from media, from television, from publications, and obviously people, the Yelpers and the and whatnot who review. So everybody seems to absolutely love Breakfast at Blume, and and I mean, you had mentioned it, before that, everybody loves food, but food is not just like everybody likes it. You have to eat, but it's also one of those universal things that bring people together. But, one of the most important meals of the day, of course, is breakfast. So, You have a stuffed French toast that
Yeah,
seems to be very popular.
it is. It is. It is. Our strawberry stuffed French toast is, I mean, it's shareable and it's huge and it's really decadent. Um, I use challah bread. Everybody asks me, what is this bread? What is this bread? It is challah bread. Um, I just think that when I think of breakfast as a kid, I remember sitting at the table and you see pancakes. Pancakes look bigger than life. And so here, I try to make sure the food kind of reminds you when you were younger and the exaggeration of it, but also we have like a little the brunch concept so that when you do come, you can have variety. So that's where that stuffed French toast came from.
And I mean, I'm one who, if you have the option between a pancake or a French toast, I always opt for French toast because it's like I'm drawn to it. Yeah. Um, yeah. And you, if I recall, you have a chicken and waffles too.
Yes, we do. We had to keep the balance between that brunch and breakfast, and I think that's one of the staples when that concept actually came together. And it's such a good pairing because it's a sweet and savory, and I'm definitely that type of girl. I love sweet and savory, and it just it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm undecided if I want to get a breakfast meat, but I really want lunch, but I really want breakfast. So whoever came up with the idea, thank you. I love you.
For that, on that same notation of the savory sweet breakfast slash lunch, I am a huge fan of Monte Cristos.
Yes, yes. I thought about adding that to the menu. The only thing is we try to minimize having any processed meats because we
Mm.
specialize, we really cater to the idea of having fresh. And bacon is a breakfast thing, but it's not my favorite thing to have. So I'm trying to figure out where I could balance that. But we do have something very similar. We do fry our French toast. So it gives you that balance where you think you may have that crispy, buttery, yeah, that feeling.
Yeah, with a little bit of a crunch, like a little extra texture.
Absolutely.
Now you also offer, cocktails and mocktails on your menu as well. Tell, do you pair that with particular items or have recommendations?
So everything here is very whimsical with our concept for our drinks. We offer like, okay, so our mimosas, we don't serve any alcohol if you don't know. And so people were kind of shocked because it's funny to watch someone come here and act as if they're actually kind of like, oh my God, I've had a few drinks. I'm like, really? Because we use seedlip, and seedlip is a non-alcohol alcohol, and it's funny because I taste where I get the aroma aromatics of that texture that we get when you do actually have alcohol. So it's so funny. Like we had just gotten an award for, not an award, we just got recognized for our espresso martini. And when I tell you, I looked at everybody's espresso martinis, ours is pretty darn sharp. The texture, the layering, it was really nice. And just to know that you can come here and it's brunch. So I try to not have you want to even leave here, oh my gosh, I had such a time, I want to go home and go to sleep. Whereas you had an amazing experience, you had a cocktail, and it did not take away from your equilibrium. Seriously, you know. But yes, we do. We try to pair um, different types of foods that we have here, as far as like we have divine eggs, we have our French toast, we have a lobster waffle, which is more like a salad. It's on a cornbread waffle stuffed with Maine lobster meat, and then we have arugula, tomatoes, lobster meat added in with a little sherry wine. It is really good. So to me, that would pair very nicely with our Bloody Mary, our version of a sangria. And people just absolutely love it. They do. They absolutely love it. So yes, there's absolutely and the staff that works here is very versed on the menu and also offers you different things to even try. So I use my customers when I'm here trying to create something new. I feel like we have a seasonal menu.
Mm.
And we will definitely, while they're here, we'll send some things out for them to try and get their input, because that's more important to me than just what I would like versus what my customers may say, hey, could you add this, or maybe, do this or something like that. Absolutely. Because those are the people who drive my business and keep coming back. So their opinion is very important to me.
Of course. Now I might actually switch gears on you for a little bit, because I wanted to touch base on the fact that you, speaking of pairings and and whatnot, you had been one of the first corporate diversity partnerships with the Greater
Amazon.
huh?
With Amazon.
Yes, with Amazon and the Greater Wilmington Tourism Bureau. So how did that, help with your business, and, is that still ongoing?
It is very much, I'm a very genuine person, and the people who find our business literally come from everywhere. They reached out to me and they just basically said, hey, Nery, we like what you're doing. Would you like to be a part of this? And they had came before. Greater Wilmington, visit Wilmington, came out and she spoke to me, and they've been nothing but supportive, because I'm a small business. A lot of people, it looks bigger than what it is, but I'm really a small business. When they asked me, was I really, they kind of told me I was going to be part of it, and I felt that. I was like, yes, I understand that I'm the best fit for something like that, because I'm a small business, I'm a local business, and getting us out there for people to visually see us outside of handing out flyers, and you're trying to do Facebook ads and things like that. Some of us can't afford it. We're a small business. So that really does help to know that someone is paying attention to your hard work. Because it's one thing to be just a chef, it's another to be a business owner. But when you combine the two, you have to wear so many hats that you're missing some things. And if someone else catches it and can help you, that's such a benefit. So that is still going on. They actually came out, we did a photo. They reached out. I was supposed to actually go to their warehouse to speak to some of the people there. I believe that these are opportunities that need to be more had for small businesses to be successful. It's really important to have the support of corporations, because Amazon's huge. Visit Wilmington has made, has their brand, and they've actually made a statement for themselves, helping small businesses stay in business and showing them on their platform makes a huge difference. That people, some of my followers may not be your followers, or some of the people I may just talk to at the gas station, you may never run into. So it is important when opportunities like that come, that they pick a person that they feel is going to be a good representation of who they offer it to, that they see the work behind the scenes, that they actually know the character of the person they're investing in. Because sometimes, businesses come and go, especially restaurants. That's one of the hardest parts for me to really face. Like, this will be my second year in business, but just making it through the first year felt like it went through like a breeze, but it didn't at all. So it is very important for those type of programs, and just recognizing our hard work and wanting to help us was really amazing. I couldn't thank them more for even selecting me.
And it's a big deal that they did that, and it helps bolster your business, and it also adds an additional spotlight on you. But I know that you also spotlight other things, like you give back to the community in various ways. I know that you're the CEO for And for Women,
Yes.
and that you also volunteer as a life coach. So I'm also wondering, because you have this space now, like what, do you ever bring in events or whatnot?
I've been working on that. I used to have a girls' boss brunch. I used to host it in my home, because I had a huge house in Wilmington. And what I realized is that a lot of us have a skill set, we just don't know how to utilize it properly. And I work with a lot of kids for this specific reason. When you're an adult and someone asks you, when you were an adult, what did you want to become? And you said something, you didn't realize the amount of work and effort that was going to go into actually becoming that. And when you're in that moment and you realize, you sit back 5 years or 3 years and you're like, what am I doing here? Or what am I, it doesn't make sense. I'm not even happy. It's because of the people around you and your circumstances. So I love people that know me personally know I literally love and enjoy helping someone fulfill their goals, their dreams, and utilizing my skill set to actually bring it to fruition. Now, being a restaurant owner now, I didn't know it was going to take this amount of effort and this amount of time away from me being able to help people. But any chance I get, I do. And then I had to start realizing, Nery, you gotta hold some of your resources for yourself because now you need help.
Yeah.
And that was really hard because it's like, it's easy to solve someone else's problems because it's not your problem. But when it's your problem, you're running around trying to figure it out and you don't have the extra mental space to actually just take a step away, act as if you're someone else. That's what I tell people all the time. Like when I would get asked for advice, I'm like, all you have to do is remove yourself from that situation. Look at yourself as if you're in the mirror as a second person and give that person the advice.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about it for yourself, you get overwhelmed. You can't think clearly. It's too much, things like that. And with kids and why I work with kids don't have bills. They have the wildest imagination. They have the extra time to be whimsical. And they literally speak life into you. Because when you see a kid just goofing around as an adult, I remember mom like, you're so silly. You're just goofing around. Like, I don't have anything else to worry about. So when I work with kids, I get inspired again.
Yeah.
I get immediately inspired again because I'm like, remember what you want to do? The amount of, when you see a kid bouncing around, when you see a little kid bouncing around, you're like, where do you get this energy from? Realistically, you're kind of jealous. You're like, I wish
that I didn't have to drink coffee to be like that.
I wish I had at least just 10% of that so I could get through the day. And with us, business owners, parents, anyone that's just even working, you're trying to, the time is actually getting away from us. I noticed that 24 hours is not realistic. That's not real. It's really about you have a solid 10 hours to make it count. Because the sun is going up and it's coming down, and in that time frame you have to be very diligent in your mind, and there requires a lot of discipline that you really are sacrificing something for something you're sacrificing. And those are the things when I speak to people about, they'll bring me their business plan, I'll look over it, I may even redo it for them, and I'm thinking to myself, do you understand what you're getting ready to give up? Because if you're comfortable living a certain lifestyle and you want to be an entrepreneur, remember, you're quitting your job of working maybe really realistic 7.5 hours to possibly working 16 to 36 hours, maybe 2 hours of sleep, 7 cups of coffee, and a granola bar.
That is probably the most accurate thing I could ever hear or say myself is, you definitely sacrifice your time, your energy, and your sleep, a lot of your sleep and personal life for owning a business. But I want to actually circle back to your business, Breakfast at Blume, because we are having such a wonderful discussion, but running out of time. So let our listeners know where to find you online and in person.
Okay, so we are located at 4304 North Market Street in North Wilmington. My website is www.breakfastatblume.com, where you can actually make your reservations if you're looking for space for events, catering, personalized, anything you need, you can actually find on our website. I'm also hosting a benefit. I'm looking to actually raise a certain amount of donations so that I can find my new restaurant. We are really working really diligently to outfit a new space. We're growing out of our current location. This building was built in 1942. And to ensure the quality and what I would love to, show to my patrons and just everyone in the community, we decided we are going to try to actually buy our own building to ensure the longevity of our project, because it doesn't make sense for us to start building something and not own it. So that's where we're at with it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Good luck. And thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs. And hopefully our listeners will be able to help out and contribute to your scope of your next endeavors.
Thank you so much.
All right. And we will be right back after this short break. Welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs, and I am so happy to be able to introduce you to the two owners of Lewin Oggs, which is located in
Ardmore.
PA.
your business is actually somewhat new, but you guys have the amazing looking ice creams, affogatos, and coffees at Lewin Oggs. But let our listeners know, how you got into this business and, the history behind the name.
Yeah, sure. So Lewin Oggs is it's named after our children, Lila Rose and Augustin. They're both teenagers. They'll be starting high school in about a month now.
Well,
right?
Lila's already in high school,
Right.
and Augustin is joining high school in Marple Newtown in September.
Right. So yeah, as far as the idea, we kind of taking back 2 years around the time of the pandemic, COVID. We were spending a lot of time indoors, and one of our activities was to just break the monotony and go out for ice cream. And we would take a lot of trips out to more rural PA, like Lancaster and places like that. So, Preet and I, we always wanted to start a coffee shop at some point when we were,
When we were in
When we were dating
college
and
and stuff like that, and it was just like something to incorporate the kids along with us, and so coffee and ice cream just went well hand in hand for us.
Yep,
Like
that's
we love
something-
coffee, they love ice cream.
Yeah, we do it all the time as a family to go out for ice cream. So we thought, why not open our own shop?
Well, and then we started kind of going into it even further, and then doing more analysis and then research.
I love that you used air quotes on research, because I think that it's a family thing where you guys are testing out the different recipes that you're coming up with.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly. Like trying to test out different, flavor profiles when you're stuck in the house, you have nothing better to do. So yeah, we kind of use that time constructively, I guess, with the kids, trying to get them more engaged and keep us engaged as well, and not go crazy in one house together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ash, I know that men generally don't have like the strongest sweet tooth, but given that you guys are offering up these gourmet, I mean, for our listeners out there, you have to check out the photos and whatnot that are out there. They are decadent, the ice cream dessert cups and whatnot that you guys come up with, and the affogatos. So what is one of your favorites that you guys serve up?
Well, first of all, I'm probably the sweet tooth in the family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's probably me and the kids. I also do gravitate towards the coffee and espresso side as well. But yeah, as far as a favorite, we ended up picking things that we were all, pretty much really into. So anything on that menu is, considered a favorite for us. I like the Sunrise in Cali, which is this sweet and sour yuzu marmalade that has pistachios and
Toasted coconut.
It's really it's a very different type of soft serve. So that's one of the ones that stands out on our menu for us.
And I mean, you also have because it is the summertime and because people camp and and they also want to cool off, you have something that's called the deconstructed s'mores.
Yeah, that's one that we came up with, where it's basically vanilla soft serve with this artisanal marshmallow that we get from. It's actually called the Artisanal Marshmallow Company in New Jersey. So she makes these, handcrafted marshmallows that are cut to size for what we need, and then we will, we'll roast them up in the store, put it with graham crackers and
chocolate chunks. It has that outdoorsy s'mores feel.
Yeah, we actually have a torch in there where they'll, light the whole thing up and, put it right on top of the ice cream. So
It tastes delicious.
yeah, it's great.
I know, and then it caramelizes those sugars too. So it's a perfect combination. Profile wise, for a dessert, you can't get anything better because you have the smooth and creamy, you have the crunchiness, and then you have that, the almost burnt taste, not burnt though, but the caramelized taste
Yep.
from
Right.
from that. It's perfect combination for any foodie that's out there that wants a dessert. Now I want to jump into the fact that you guys work closely with businesses that are PA based. I know that you go work with OX Coffee.
Yeah, so Ox Coffee in Queens Village, they have been supplying our espresso and our coffee with their Ox 1 and Ox 2. So it's one of those pairings. We were researching for a very long time on the right roaster, and these guys really stood out with just the way it works with the soft serve that we're putting out there.
Yeah, it's not too acidic. It has like a very nice, it complements like the espresso, and the coffee itself has like that well-rounded taste that goes along with everything that we have on the menu.
So, given you saying that, because your reaction, I'm like, do you have a sweet tooth, or are you just kind of like more of the coffee? Oh, sorry, Preetha, do you prefer like the coffee over the desserts?
You know what? That's funny because like I am not much of a sweet tooth, but I like the sunrise in Cali. I was like my type of pairings were those that was in for people who don't really like too much sweet, but they want to be part of the family. So like I would they would all get all the chocolatey stuff, and I would like to get something that's a little bit more like, I guess, like not refined, but like a little different tasting. So I guess that yuzu pairing with the toasted coconuts and pistachios worked well because
Yeah.
it wasn't too overly sweet, and I would have that with coffee everywhere I would go. I always got coffee. So coffee was like more of my strong point, but when it came to the menu, it was usually those types of things that I were leaning more towards.
Right.
Gotcha. And so I would assume then the matcha madness would probably be something that you would prefer too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say we've gravitated towards those flavors that are a little bit different from what you would get from a typical ice cream shop. So matcha madness will probably be more of a featured item or a seasonal type of thing. But the mainstays are like the yuzu marmalade type and
The strawberry.
Strawberry
So
Supreme.
Strawberry Supreme is a hit right now, and it's delicious because we make the compote in house. We make the strawberry crunch in house. So it has like this very well-rounded taste with cheesecake pieces on the side. It almost has like a strawberry cheesecake feel, with golden graham cracker crumbs and stuff like that. So it's like that's been pretty
it's been
crazy.
a big one.
Yeah.
Now with your launch, because I believe you guys are still really, really new in Ardmore. Are you participating in any of the like mainline Ardmore Taste of Ardmore and whatnot?
Yeah, so we are part of. So we actually launched during Restaurant Week here in Ardmore. We're very close with the Ardmore initiative, which they have tons of different events and fundraisers, and we try to see where we could be a good fit for some of the work they're doing. So Ardmore has been incredible, just in terms of getting us into connections with the music hall and some of the other community organizations there.
So typically speaking, like what are the hours that you keep? Because I know myself, I work all kinds of hours and I end up like all over the place. But when are you open, from when and until when?
So we're open from Tuesday to Saturday from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then Sunday we have shorter hours, maybe from 1 p.m. to about 8 p.m. And then Monday we're off.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I wonder if I can go hit you guys up, because the studio that we record out of is actually quite close to where you're located, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can stop in.
Yeah, we're working on the hours, but those are sort of what we're setting with at this point.
So, I know, obviously, if you're relatively new, you're working with the Ardmore business district, but like, do you have any other ways that you give back to the community? Because obviously you have two children, so you probably see like a spackling of kids coming in. That is going to be a very popular spot for everybody who's a coffee drinker or ice cream lover. But are there any kind of community events that you're involved in?
Yeah, so actually for our launch, we did a collection for the Ardmore food pantry. So part of our proceeds will be going to the food pantry to help with their program. Part of our mission statement when we started this business was to be able to do things that were charitable organizations and sort of find ways to incorporate ourselves in our work with work being done by these charities. So not immediately, but at a later phase, we are looking to start doing charity nights and work with other organizations that are looking to do some sort of fundraisers.
Now, some of the things that I don't know if you know this or not, but there are like ice cream, like there's a National Ice Cream Day, and there's different competitions that are, held within the city. So I'm wondering, moving forward, because you guys are so elaborate, like, and the scope of what you offer is, not just myopically like ice cream, you're incorporating, coffee. So you can probably get, National Coffee Day, because there is that too. Would you get involved with any of those or like run any specials?
Yeah, I think everything's on the table at this point. I mean, we had a later start than we had originally anticipated. So, July is about, pretty much through summer at this point.
Yeah,
So,
I think we missed our launch or our soft opening was right after the National Ice Cream Day.
yeah, so we missed this year, but next year we'll be there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're very open to doing fun stuff.
And we actually do carry Dottie's Donuts, which is from West Philly, and National Donut Day is another one we've definitely put on the menu as something we want to be part of next year around.
Of course. I mean, and I don't know anybody who doesn't love a donut. I love donuts.
Yeah, these are amazing. Dottie's is it's vegan. The flavors are like, what do they have? Thai tea this time?
They have like raspberry, lemon. They also have all the classics, and that's been a really big hit too. Just because we do offer vegan Oatly soft serve, which it's great. I kind of I try to avoid dairy as much as I can. It's funny, we have an ice cream shop, but I try to because I want to get just for health reasons, right? So like for Oatly, we have like the Oatly vanilla that's amazing. It has like a very creamy flavor. It goes along and complements a lot of the different toppings.
We've tricked the kids into thinking it was just normal vanilla, and they
and they're like, wait a minute, what?
Right, it's really that good. I mean, it's really that good. And a lot of our folks in Ardmore actually do love it. Some people have had it.
Right.
It's also striking because I know what one you're talking about. It's the midnight vanilla. Yeah, it comes in that dark cone.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a midnight vanilla cone, and then the Oatly soft serve is just its own vanilla that we'll fill up for or swap out for any of the menu items that we have.
Oh, which is really good because I mean, I know that there's a lot of people who are vegan and who have dietary restrictions. So having that on your menu is key because then you can involve everybody.
Yep,
right,
exactly.
I also know that you work closely with famous 4th Street Cookies, which is another Philadelphia brand that just, is iconically Philly. So how do you incorporate their cookies into what you offer?
So, I mean, I am very partial to famous 4th Street just because I've always went to Reading Terminal Market, even when I was a little girl, and I would always get cookies and stuff. And when it finally got to open up our own shop, they were the first people I reached out to, and they were awesome to work with. They are awesome to work with. So we offer about 4 different types of cookies and their brownies, and their brownies are actually what we use for one of our main specialty items, which is like a chocoholic. It's an actual full brownie. That brownie is also used in the affogato as well. So we use a lot of their cookies and their brownies for the specialty items that we have.
Which, I mean, you said a whole brownie? Like that's a lot. That's
Chocoholic, you're serious, right? I mean, we take it very seriously. But the chocoholic is a very decadent. You've got to be a very, very much addicted to chocolate for that one.
Right.
The cookies that we have are chocolate chip, peanut butter chocolate chip, oatmeal, and M&M. M&M cookies are very famous, very, very, very popular with the little kids too. So.
I don't know if you can have a chance, but when they come out with they have a blueberry cookie that is just phenomenal. It's got like blueberries and white chocolate chips in it, and kind of like a sugary top. When they come out with that, I swear you should try it, and try to create something with it, just because it is delicious.
That about go well with our vanilla.
Yeah, we actually did a blueberry cobbler.
Oh
was it?
yeah, so we did a blueberry cobbler because I made an extra compote, blueberry compote, and we ended up selling out on that one too. We had that blueberry with the vanilla; it just worked out perfectly.
So, yeah,
that with
it
the
might-
graham cracker
That
was
cookie
great.
might work really
Yeah,
well.
that cookie would totally work well.
Yeah. Or like a key. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm consulting with you, not interviewing. But or a key lime, get like that kind of flavor, because that's a nice. You would probably like it because it's not super sweet.
Right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Key lime, like that lemony, that taste.
Our first featured flavor was actually lemongrass, which we went towards for. So it was lemongrass with toasted coconut.
Yeah, and that was a hit.
Yeah, that was during the soft launch.
Yeah, so we ended up trying that out during the first week when we have soft launched, and that sold out pretty quickly. So it was really cool to see how like the different profiles that everyone else was really interested in too in the community. It was like you're not the only one kind of feeling, which is great.
That's awesome. So we unfortunately we ran out of time because we were having so much fun talking about ice cream and avocados and coffee and brownies. Oh my. But let our listeners know where they can find you online and in person.
Yeah, so we are on Instagram at Luandaugs. So it's LUANDAUGS, and our website is the same thing, luandaugs.com.
And then we're located on 28
Right.
Rittenhouse Place, Ardmore, PA.
All right. Thank you so much, Ash, and Preetha. I loved having you on. I'm not at my top of the game right now, but I loved having you on, and I look forward to trying out what you guys have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So psyched to see you.
All right. Thank you. And we'll be right back next week with a brand new episode of Food Farms and Chefs, but make sure to tune in and try out all of our guests and their restaurants and cocktails.